Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our August 12th, 2025 Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. This is a regular scheduled meeting here at our Madison County Courthouse Annex in our Fiscal Court room at 135 West Irvin Street in Richmond, Kentucky. This time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Master Combs. Here. Master Lockmuller.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Buckin.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite Chris May from Real Life Community Church up to lead us in a word of prayer. Chris, appreciate you being here today.
Thank you. It's an honor. Would you bow with me, please? Father in heaven, we thank you so much for the privilege of living in this great county. And we thank you, too, for all of our public servants who serve our county so diligently. And Lord, we are told in the scriptures to pray and petition and offer up intercessions for all people, especially, the word says, for those who serve in this capacity. And so, God, I'll begin by praying for each of those men and women today. We pray blessing upon them. We pray prosperity upon them and safety for them and their families. And God, most of all this morning, I pray for wisdom for each one here. We ask, Lord, that you would guide them, help them to think through every issue that will no doubt impact so many people within our community. And we pray that the business done today would promote the health and safety and well-being of our residents, especially the most marginalized. And Father, today we ask that this meeting would be amicable, that it would be peppered with grace and humility, that there would be an atmosphere of honesty and integrity and openness. And Father, even when there's disagreement, which often happens, I pray that they would leave this building today in a united front, as we know that a house divided against itself cannot stand. Most importantly, in all that we do, as the scripture says, even in our eating and drinking, we're to do it to the glory of God. And so, Lord, I pray this morning that everything done here today would be first and foremost for your glory and then for the good of the people of Madison County. In Jesus' good and precious name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thanks,
Good
Chris.
prayer, preacher.
Sheriff, if you will.
Everyone, please stand and face our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thanks again, Chris. Members of the court, y'all have had a chance to look over our previous meeting minutes. Looks like we have two different meeting minutes that we need to approve. We'll start with our July 22nd. It was a regular scheduled fiscal court meeting. I need a motion second to approve, please.
Motion to approve is presented, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Lockmuller.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Buckin.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next was a special called fiscal court meeting. It was July 29th. I need a motion and second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Lockmuller.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Buckin.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Treasury report will be at our next fiscal court meeting. It's always on our fourth Tuesday meeting, but we have Mary Margaret here with us today to give us a sheriff's quarterly financial report. Good morning, Mary Margaret.
Morning.
Okay, I think you have the documents in front of you from the second quarter. You also, the top sheet is the financial sheet, and that is the yearly totals. So far for the year, we've collected $1,181,869.27. Our claims have been $3,161,732.38, which right now we're in the red, $1,979,863.11. But like I said, that will not improve until we start collecting taxes.
Yep. Mary Margaret, have we given any money yet? Do we wait? We wait till the end of the year? The fiscal court contribution?
Yes.
We wait till the end of the year?
Yes, yes, that comes in November, December.
November, December, yeah,
Yes.
okay. And then when it says outstanding deposits of 185,000, what's that mean?
Those are just the deposits that, how can I explain that? They've not been totaled in yet.
Okay. It's not that anybody owes the sheriff's department any money.
Well, we do have like SROs. They haven't, and this will not, this does not have any of their reimbursements back yet. School board's
Okay, I got you.
dragging a little, but
Yeah.
yes, we are owed money.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not that somebody's just not paying it. It's just that
No.
hasn't been collected yet.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing
yeah.
like that at
No,
all.
that's good. That's good. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Anybody got questions?
Thank
Per-
you.
Do you
That's
get
it. Thank you for your
Yeah.
report.
Do you get SRO money just because you mentioned them? Do you get them all in one lump sum, or do you get them like in quarters? How do you get their money?
We bill them in quarters,
I see, okay.
but as you can look, we received our first quarter in July, so it's not showing up on this. And we've already billed them for the second quarter, which, you know,
And you haven't gotten first quarter yet?
we got it in July.
Oh, you did get it in July. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're talking about 200 and something thousand right there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Bunch. Appreciate the report. Thanks, Sheriff. Tony, appreciate y'all. It's good.
Thank you, Sheriff, thank you. Judge, I'm just curious about, obviously, we know the financial situation right now. We know how attentive that the Sheriff's Department has been to try to take a look at their expenses and to do what they can to be efficient. And we also know that they're taking on responsibilities that are not theirs necessarily, like the third shift in the evening, which is supposed to, in the past, has been done by state police. And we also know that Commonwealth is not doing a whole lot to address not just our problem or challenge, it'd be more of a challenge, I'd say, but every county that has a sheriff's department, for the most part, probably has some challenges with all that they do for us and protect our citizens, but yet the way we're set up from a state perspective, we seem to be spending more than we have per se. So my question is, how do we as a fiscal court work with the sheriff and at least start looking at the next couple years or whatever to see, because we keep saying, and I'll say I'm not necessarily you, we keep saying that the state is going to have to recognize this and do something about it. I'm not confident that that's necessarily going to happen. Is there anything that you have thought of that we as a fiscal court can do to work with Sheriff Mike and whomever, just in case we have to start considering options not to continue on the same path?
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer that, Steve, is I think we have. I mean, we continue to have meetings with different state agencies. I mean, it wasn't too awful long ago that we sat over there in the courthouse and had conversations with some of the court security higher ups with the AOC, just talking about advocating for more funds. You know, I say all the time in court security, it's an important service to the public and to our court staff, to our judges, but we lose money on it every year. I mean, for what we get reimbursed, which is set by the legislature. So the legislature, I think we have to do some advocating, because I think, and it's becoming year after year more statewide, that communities are kind of creating a new standard in how that a community, especially the unincorporated limits of a county, are policed, which we've created kind of a new standard here. Thankful for the sheriff's expertise, Tony's expertise in law enforcement over the years. We're able to provide that, and I'm proud to be able to provide that service to our
As am I.
community. But I think when counties just sort of volunteer and we start paying for those things little by little by little, it gets harder to advocate for it at the legislature. But I think that we just have to continue that with the services they provide and just continue. I mean, it's what's called advocacy. We have to get the legislature to recognize these challenges that fiscal courts are faced, jails, law enforcement. You know, a lot of these things are unfunded mandates that get passed down. So I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Kenny, Sheriff, Tom, I mean, we've been talking about those things for, this is my 11th year. Those are the things we continue to talk about and advocate. And, you know, at the end of the day, the legislature has to help us. Sheriff, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that. You might know more about state police numbers. I know the legislature did, Steve, give an increase in pay to state police officers 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, Tony. I don't know, I've not heard any updates, Sheriff, if that's really ever helped in that manpower piece.
They still have, yearly, they still have a turnover in the state police where some people leave for different reasons, terminated, different things. But Madison County, since I've been here since 2011, we've grown. The county's grown. Law enforcement has to grow. Our detention center is terrible as far as manpower and holding inmates. I think, talking to Mr. Brock, I think at one point they have an average of 300, 100 and something out in other jails, as well as home incarceration, 50 to 60 every day on home incarceration. These numbers just show what the growth is here in Madison County. You know, we've talked about 25 miles north and south of Interstate I-75 with 7 exits. We have, Judge, 50 or 60,000 people a day traveling through the interstate.
70 on I-75.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, this county has just blossomed and took off. But we also have a crime problem. You know, we have a lot of things that take place in Fayette County that end up coming over into here, the other 7 counties that border Madison County. But we've let this situation grow through the years, and it's festered up until it's exploded. Some counties have a justice center. Here in Madison County, we have 3 locations for court security. And working with the state through AOC, we had to provide security for the judges, for their staff, for the prisoners, all the judicial things that take place in a court. We have to provide that security, plus we have to transport prisoners. So we now, in Madison County, we now have 8 judges, 3 in district, 3 in circuit, 2 in family court. Now, when you look at that, those are 3 different locations. We have to have the adequate number of court security every day to staff each one of those facilities. Now we have to have our court security folks run all over the state, picking up prisoners wherever they can find a bed for somebody, if it's in Fulton County or Northern Kentucky. We don't control that. They have to find a place, so as the week goes towards the weekend, they can get some of those inmates out and move to other locations where they'll have ample room for that weekend, because that's when all your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is when you start having more people come in for being arrested during those days. We still do not have enough deputies working the road. At this time, we have 2 fixing to graduate from the academy. We have another one that's in the process, but we're still understaffed because of the call volume and all the things that take place. How we fix it, I don't know. But you know, when you look at the state police, their salaries, I spent 30 years there. Their salaries is doubled since when I worked there. They're one of the highest paid law enforcement, and I think Major Terry mentioned yesterday that the rumor is they're going to get another pay raise. Well, when you have a state police or Richmond Police Department here, when they're making decent money, it's hard to hold your people because they want to go somewhere else where they're making money. But, the county fire department, the county sheriff's office, all those guys are underpaid. So we have a turnover, other people going to other agencies. How you fix that? I don't know if it's money, but we've been fortunate that we've had people come here and stay with us because the way we run things. Our court's been good to us. The people here, they respect law enforcement. Every now and then we have one. We had a female this past weekend, a deputy with attempted arrest. She headbutted him, spit on him, took her to the hospital before they could take her to the detention center. She was high on drugs. I mean, this is the people that you deal with on a daily basis. How we fix it, I don't know.
Well, it's not like we don't know that it's here. And it's not like you and the county haven't done anything and don't have it on your radar. But to your point, Sheriff, we're growing as a county. So our county, and I admire the job you all do, but we're still going to grow. And we still have the obligation to protect our citizens and do the job but yet the fiscal court's responsible partly for the financial piece, and we know how raising taxes goes around this county. So the only thing I'm saying is that I don't think there is an alternative right now, but I sure am not really happy with the fact of what kind of reception we're getting from the people over in Frankfurt, because they spend one-time money like a drunken sailor. But yet we've got critical issues in the counties that needs to be addressed. And that's what I'm concerned about. And so anyway, I just, no reflection on our sheriff's department, no reflection upon this fiscal court or you as the county judge. I just wanted to bring it back up while we had it in front of us, because it's not going to go away. So anyway,
I think we just got to continue to make people aware. We got to continue making the individuals that represent us at the state level, at the federal level, we got to make sure that they're aware of what their responsibilities should be, but what our responsibilities actually are, because maybe they don't know. I think it's pretty cut and dry that, state police is supposed to be the primary law enforcement agency of a county on incorporated limits. There's revenue streams for the sheriff's department in collecting taxes and serving papers, and court security. Even though it's not dollar for dollar with court security, there's still that revenue stream of reimbursement. But law enforcement, there is no revenue stream for that is paying that. So that's where obviously it comes in from the fiscal court to make that decision.
Well, one thing that I will say, I've been in this business many, many years. I've got a great staff. I've got good employees. This court has always been very supportive. We know what we need to do. We have an excellent county attorney in their office up there. We've got everything in place. We've got everything in place, and we've got dedicated employees. I don't care if the road department, where. I was driving one of the county roads the other day, and there was a tree limb that was laying out in the road. And as I approached it, I saw a county truck, road department truck. One guy got out, just driving through there, picked it up and loaded it up and drove off. Nobody's watching. That's the kind of employees that we have here in this county. And when I look at our sheriff's office, the men and women that work there, I'm very proud of them. What they do each and every day, And like I said, if it wasn't for the people here in this county that shows respect, I don't know how you could have people working for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you, Sheriff.
One last comment. You
Yes,
know
sir.
me, sometimes it's a pain, but I like to be proactive and not reactive.
No, good.
So that's the only reason I bring it up.
No, it's good. Good conversation.
I've got another question. Sheriff, how many retired KSP troopers do you have on your staff? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Have about 6 or 7.
Not necessarily troopers, but we have about 10 total retirees.
So, you know, over the years, we've been very fortunate
Saves.
that we're able to get retired troopers, or at least folks
Retired officers.
that have been, yes, because in their case, we're able to gain all that experience and bring all that training that they've had over 20 or 25 years or whatever their case is, and we don't have to pay the benefit side of it. All we have to pay is their salary. And that's been such a blessing for us because, I mean, you're talking about a whole lot of money.
Saves a lot.
Well, when you look at the overall picture of it, you can just about hire 2 retirees. And you're getting, like you said, all that experience and all that knowledge, where you hire 1 young deputy, and then you train and put all that time and effort in him. And it's a gamble when you send one of them to the academy, because they may make it or may not make it. But, you know, we've been very fortunate. We've been able to build our numbers up. When you're making a budget and you're looking at hiring 2 people rather than 1, that's the reason we've had that in place for several years now, and it's worked out good. We have some from RPD, Lexington Metro, Berea.
You had a Cumberland County one there not long ago.
I'm sorry?
Cumberland County, you had a Cumberland
Yeah,
County not long
he
ago.
was a good one.
He went back, yeah.
Good one. He
Yeah.
went back home. We just, Judge just swore in one last week, a female. We brought her in here from Paris. She had previously lived in Colorado, and her family, a lot of them were in law enforcement. She worked for the Fish and Wildlife, and left Fish and Wildlife and went to Paris PD, and had worked there for a year and a half or something, and came here. So we're, like I said, we can get some good people.
What about the Sheriff's Association? Are they taking any steps to help with the problems of the finance? Or are they have any lobbying efforts in Frankfurt in those type discussions?
They lobby each session. I'm sure you all know, but all of our fees went up statewide. For instance, our vehicle inspection, we used to get $5 if somebody brought their vehicle here and we inspected it. Or if we went to someone's house or Toyota or wherever we went, it was a $10 trip fee. Now that's risen to $35. So that's more money. Every time we do one, it comes into our office. Our paperwork went up. Any civil or criminal paperwork, all those have gone up. So across the state, it's more sheriff's offices are getting more fees, which at the end of the year, what we've brought in is less what we have to ask the fiscal court for. But there again, our biggest line item in our budget is our payroll. And you know, you have 70-something employees, then you have all these licensing fees and insurance and all the other things that go along with the sheriff's office and trying to maintain and run it. You know, it takes money.
Well, we hope that the fee structure there has helped this year, especially when the court is supplementing by $2.3 million. You know, hopefully that'll bring that number down some. That's the goal, we hope.
I think, you know, the strongest advocacy out there is public. I mean, you know, when the public is concerned about 911, you know, we have conversations, you know, things happen. I guess the problem is that the public doesn't see the problem that we have with jails, sheriff's office, that kind of thing, because they're not feeling it personally. But they really are, because it's affecting, you know, the ability of us to offer the services that we do, you know, and it's going to continue to, you know, affect one way or the other, maybe negatively, if something's not done. So I think the biggest thing is that the public needs to advocate to their representatives at the state level. I know the conversations, you know, that we've had about 911 have led into other conversations, you know, about the jail and the financial situation that the county's in, even down to roads, you know, the fact that, you know, the state lowered the gas tax, took out, I can't remember the number, it's way up there, 30-something million dollars out of the budget for a 1 cent reduction. You know, people won't even notice that. But counties will notice it huge, because we took a hit on the amount of money that we get to pave roads. So, you know, public advocacy is the best advocacy. I know a lot of people think that, and it is our job. We represent folks. You know, it's our job to go to Frankfurt and advocate. But I think public advocacy is the biggest thing that's going to make a change, because they listen to voters. And the state legislature, they want to be reelected, you know, and they're getting reelected on lowering taxes. But I don't think the public generally sees the fact that this is detrimental to local governments.
Yeah. Anyone else? All right, great conversation. Appreciate it. Thanks, Sheriff. First order of business today is a Bluegrass Army Depot chemical stockpile update, and we have Craig Williams here with us, which is our host community liaison with the Bluegrass Army Depot and through our CSEP program. He's here to give us an update on what's going on at the Bluegrass Army Depot.
Thanks, Judge.
Just push left and right.
Okay. Sheriff, I want to just take a moment to thank you and your officers and your staff and everybody for what they do. It's a tough job, but you should be proud of what you do and how you do it. And I know a lot of folks down in the southern part of the county wave and say hello and pull over next to them, tell them good job and stuff like that. And I think that's important for their morale as well. Good morning.
Morning.
We're getting close. It's been a long haul, but we're getting there. Let's see. Okay, we're going to start off with the economic and jobs situation. And as you can see in your handout, we're down about 900 employees on the project. It was up to 1,406 at one time. There have been a lot of departures because of the milestones that have been met. Every time they reach a specific milestone, there's certain people that had those tasks and that obligation, and those people are either let go or they find new jobs somewhere within the contracting office or within the military. So we're down to 906 right now, and you can see from the rest of the that particular slide how much money has come into the county, how many businesses have been supported, and so on and so forth.
Greg, I don't want to interrupt you, but how many of those 906 are in that 50% local workforce still? Is that still about 50%?
Yes, that number still matches.
Okay.
The next slide has to do with safety, which is something that everybody is always concerned about. I mean, it's miraculous, folks, that these people worked out at that place with the most dangerous materials on the planet, and nobody got killed, nobody got exposed to agent. There's been very few lost time accidents over the whole span of this project. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable. And the JV, the joint venture, Bechtel Parsons and their subs, have done a stupendous job in keeping the workers safe and keeping the depot employees safe and keeping the community safe. And we all owe them a whole lot of gratitude for that. Next slide is the static detonation chamber. There are two of them out there, the 1200 and the 2000. Yesterday morning around 10 o'clock, I got a call from the site project manager for Aqua, for the Army side, and informed me that all of the GB contaminated rocket warheads have now been processed. So there is no GB agent left at the depot, and there will never be any more GB agent as long as I'm alive at the depot. So that is a great accomplishment.
Big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and GB is the most dangerous, even though it's not the most lethal. It travels easier in the air than VX does. So GB has always been the primary concern for the community. VX, there could be a puddle of it right there in front of y'all. And as long as you don't touch it, it doesn't volatilize off and get into the atmosphere. GB does, it travels. So now that that's gone, the risk to the community and the depot workers themselves and the people that work at the site is diminished significantly. So that was a great wake-up call. Yesterday morning, I was out on the porch having coffee, and Shannon called me and said, guess what? And that was the word. And the VX is being processed. They expect to have that done, well, the projected schedule says November, but the way things are moving out there, they're rocking and rolling with these static detonation chambers. So we anticipate they'll be done well before that. And don't hesitate to interrupt, because I'm here to answer questions and discuss anything you need to discuss.
What's their progress on the 1200, Craig?
1200's moving right along.
Well, you've got in here that they had some issues there. They'd stopped for some troubleshooting or repairs of it.
Well, that's not anything unusual. There have been routine problems with every aspect of this program since it began in 1984. But the skill and the level of understanding and the safety precautions that are taken allow this particular contractor to get on any issues, handle them safely, and get them rectified as soon as possible. And again, I don't want to blow their horn too much, but for those of you who've been out there to the plant before it was operational or since it's been operational, if you're not impressed with the complexity of that place and how it's run, then I think you're missing the point, because it is fantastic. Most of the SDC issues have been anticipated as routine. Things wear out. Occasionally there's something they didn't expect. They deal with it. The 1200 is back online now, and we anticipate making schedule on that. When I say we, I mean they. Main plant. Closure work is progressing quite nicely. The munitions disposal building, the MDB, has now been certified agent-free. And many of the igloos have also been certified agent-free after the weapons have been taken out. And they do air testing. They chip concrete off and make samples of that. They do a thorough job to make sure, because they're going to use those igloos for something else. Nobody knows what just yet, but they will use them for something else. As you can see in the slide, there have been a lot of milestones that have been reached. As
What's
part
going
of
to happen in that main plant? Is it going to be disassembled, or is it going to, you got any idea on that?
Yeah. Any part of that whole project that has been exposed to agent will be destroyed, except for the igloos. The igloos are a separate activity out there. They will be decontaminated, and the Army will make a decision as to what they want to use them for. Okay. But as far as in the plant footprint itself, anything that has been touched by agent or could have been touched by agent will be demolished. So things like the big water tanks and stuff, they'll stay. All the infrastructure will stay. The MDB and its ancillary components, the control room and so on, those will be raised. And make sure that they're tested to make sure there's no agent left. And then they'll be landfilled somewhere, I'm not sure where.
Maybe on that site someplace.
I doubt it. It'll probably, well, I don't know. I'm be speculating to say where it might go. Okay. Like I said, igloo closure's underway. Discussion see, modifying schedule. Yeah, there's, you can just read through this and see what I'm going to tell you, so there's no point in me reading it to you. They're making progress on all fronts. Now, there was a real discussion about the chemical activity workforce being reduced before the project was ended. That's been taken care of. They've retained an adequate number of people to work in the chemical limited area where the igloos are, where the weapons are stored, because they're still shipping stuff over to the SDC, so they need an adequate workforce. And for a while there, it was looking like they were going to have to lay off more people than they wanted to. That's been taken care of, thanks to our congressional delegation and our local folks here. Next slide shows you the employment, the current and projected employment. As we all know, that project has pumped tens of millions of dollars into the local economy. And we've been working for a number of years, I don't know how many, Judge, we've been working on trying to make sure the economic development tries to sustain at least part of that tax income and so on. But it's going to go away. It's been a great project for the community, and we're trying to keep as many people here as possible. And you'll see on the next slide, as of June, the numbers that are associated with some of this distribution of employees. Many of them, as you see from Parsons, 18 people have gotten hired local. From Amentum, 27, so on and so forth. So we're working on trying to keep as many people here as possible. In fact, there is a job fair today at the fairgrounds. The judge and I are going to go out there and pay them a visit. And you'll see on the next slide, I think it's the next slide. Yeah, we'll go right there. And this is an ongoing effort from all of the contractors and the subcontractors there to try to provide an opportunity for the folks that work there that want to stay in the area to find local employment, either in Richmond, Berea, or anywhere in the county. And you can see some of the corporations that will be out there today. And they've been really giving it a good run for the money to try to let people know that there are opportunities here. Now, some of them will stay in the military and some of them will stay at the depot doing other things. There are a couple of preliminary opportunities at the depot per se for private industry to move in there and do some defense-related work. Those are not complete yet as far as the contracts and the agreements go, but there is a significant amount of interest from the private sector, now that the chemical weapons are gone, to locate out at the depot grounds and perform an operation there that's defense-related. So that's good news as well. And here's the one of the most enticing slides, and that's when is this thing going to be over? Hopefully before I cross the finish line. I'd like to.
Third yet headed from.
I'd like to be there for the end game since I've been at it so long, but it's still going to be a while. And the long pole in the tent right now is the permitting process. Once all of these different activities to get the facility torn down or repurposed or certified agent-free and all that, there's a huge checklist of federal and state regulations that have to be met before they can declare that the project is complete. So once all the closure milestones are reached, and as they reach each one, they're working with KDEP, the Kentucky Department of Environmental Protection, to check that box off. So for example, when all the igloos are certified agent-free, there's going to be a permitting requirement to certify that. They'll check that box. When they get to the next milestone, they'll check that box and so on, so they don't accumulate all towards the end. But nonetheless, it's a very complicated process, and it will take time, and that's why they're saying site demolition will probably start next year, right around this time. The permitting process to get through all of those regulations and make sure that they have been adequately accommodated and fulfilled, it's going to take another year or so. But the important thing is the VX will be gone, the GB will be gone, the weapons will be gone, everything will be gone, and we'll be into a paper exercise from that point on, which is going to take time, but we've accomplished the main goal, which is to get rid of all that material. Now, I am not authorized to speak on behalf of the depot proper. I want to say that again, so I don't get heat from people at the depot. I'm not authorized to speak on behalf of the depot proper. As everyone knows, they have their own mission, conventional weapons and other projects that has almost nothing to do with the chemical warfare agent project. They're a tenant on the depot. So when I speak about the chemical weapons disposal project, I speak as the county liaison between this government and the Pentagon, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't have the authority to speak on behalf of the depot. However, there have been a lot of rumors going around about the depot's going to close. They're going to move everybody to, Arkansas or something like that. So I wanted to let folks know that upon inquiring about that specific issue, because it's been in the papers, people are wondering, what's going to happen. What you see in front of you is the current position of the Joint Munitions Command, which are the people that oversee all the depots in America. And their position is, if you read the short sentence right in the middle, no closures are being announced at this time. And that's the formal word. JMC, Joint Munitions Command, works for the Army Materiel Command, which is their superior. Army Materiel Command is over all Army operations in the country. Munitions Command is over places like the depot that store weapons and move weapons around, that sort of thing. So as you can see from this, and as you can see from who it's from, this is the official position of the authority over the decision as to what's going to happen with that depot. So everybody just needs to understand it's a long process. It's going to take time for them to reach a decision because they're looking at all the depots across the country, seeing where they can consolidate, seeing which ones can get more work to stay active and so on. And I know that the depot is a huge economic impact to this county. There are many of us working with people down on Capitol Hill who are advocating for expansion of the operation here rather than curtailment of it. They're very sympathetic to that, but, it's the Army way. Those of you that have served, like myself, know there's a right way, a wrong way, and the Army way. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So that's it for me, and I appreciate your attention and time. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I anticipate I will be doing this probably twice more in my life. It won't be as regular as before because things have changed. But we're still keeping track of it. We have a CAC CDCAB meeting coming up next month.
Yeah.
It'll be streamed and so on for those that can't make it there. And we look forward to continuing the process and the progress, and I appreciate the support not only of the Fiscal Court over the years, which has changed, I don't know how many times, many, many, many times, but y'all have been very supportive and very helpful in making sure that this community is represented adequately, and I personally appreciate that as a citizen, and I know the rest of the people in the county do as well. So thank you. I'll take any questions.
Could you elaborate any at all on the potential private interest in that site over there? Because that's very important.
I can tell you two of the potential activities that may occur. One is the production of energetic material for 155 millimeter howitzer projectiles. That is an activity that is being discussed. The other one is there are these huge containers that they manufacture there, and they inside these containers they put what any Army company would need to establish a outpost or a facility in some country. And what they do is they put, it's amazing what they put in these things. It's like though you see a semi-truck with a big cargo container on it. Well, they're not quite that big. They're about half that size. But in that thing, they put a complete kitchen, medical supplies, everything that a company would need. So like in Vietnam, they would go into a place and occupy it and then have to set up an outpost there. Well, the way they got the equipment there was by helicopter in these big containers. And so that they're doing that out there now. They're talking about expanding that, which would create jobs. And those are the only two that are actually being discussed between the Army and people like me who are engaged in it. They're not saying anything to the public yet because they don't want to make promises, and rumors get started. There's going to be 150 jobs, and then it falls through. They don't want to do that sort of thing. So there's that, and there's a couple of others, but they're not at all being discussed openly. So it's an effort, and people are really making the effort to try to draw that in. Those two projects, one of them, they would both be public-private partnerships, where it would be a public corporation, a private corporation working with the Army in partnership. It's not an independent company coming in and being a tenant like the chemical weapons thing was. They would be part of the Army operation.
Is there anything that we as a county could be doing to help move that along or not?
Well, yeah. The most local thing you can do is contact the depot business manager, whose name escapes me at the moment, and just encourage him to, keep on keeping on. The other thing would be to contact Bechtel Parsons and encourage them to try to locate some of their operations here. In fact, there is this one other thing I can say. I'll just put it this way. One of the subcontractors, or one of the contractors in the joint venture, is talking about opening up a operation here in Madison County. That's all I can say about it. That would be very positive because they're internationally known corporation, and I'm not sure how many people they would retain here and so on. And then, of course, your federal elected officials. I talk to them when they're not out campaigning, often about this situation, about how we need to keep these people here and so on. So those are the three avenues I would suggest if you want to try and influence the outcome of this. Anybody else?
We were on a conference call earlier this week, Craig, and some of the things you talked about, and for future things were echoed in that conference call with our legislators up the chain there through Senator McConnell's office. So we appreciate everything we've done. Also, you talk about your time winding down, but you've been winding down for a long time to stop and think about it, because you was talking about, have you ever been to the main plant out there? We were out there the day that the first actual rocket was in the movement. They were testing it out there to see where things go. And I thought, you talked about what a monumental day that was for you, and it was for all of us.
Yeah.
Because from that time to today, it's like you said, 17 million hours with no accident of the most deadliest chemicals in the world. It's just amazing. And everything that you did for us and representing the county for us, and even into the part of internationally with the treaties and all that, we certainly appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
You've done a great
I
job.
appreciate that. I'll tell you a quick funny story. Be quick, I promise. Talking about early on in the project, first time I went out there, well, not the first time. First time I went out there after they had done any kind of improvement. They had cleared the area, compacted it, and put gravel in the whole footprint out there. I mean, it was a huge gravel field. And right in the middle of it sat one of those porta potties. And I said to whoever I was with, I said, man, that's the most expensive porta potty I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was unbelievable. But it's been a ride. And I'll see you all again once or twice before they sign off on the final permit. And it's been a pleasure working on your behalf.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate you,
Thank
Greg.
you.
Appreciate you
Greg.
a bunch, man. Good update. All right, next is a discussion of a 911 fee follow-up. I think maybe Chris and Jill are going to sort of present this today.
Duck and cover. Do you want to start talking? Because I'm not talking.
It's amazing how all these people work really hard with you, and then when it goes to the microphone to start talking, they all kind of are like, oh, no, you can talk. So obviously, as we talk about 911, from our last court meeting, we were given some clear direction to go back, figure out a different funding model, what that structure looks like, what that looks like for the county and the unincorporated areas of the county. And so that's exactly what we have done and what we're here to do today, to kind of look at what those two funding models look like, from water meters to a land parcel approach. And so I kind of want to start out, obviously, both of these models have some merits. They have pros and cons, things that are advantageous or challenges with either structure. Like anything that we do really in life, there's good and bad with everything. But one of the other things that I think is worthwhile of just repeating is obviously why a 911 fee. I know that as fiscal court members, you all are tired of hearing that, but I think it's important for our citizens, for our stakeholders to understand, hey, how did we get here? Why a 911 fee? And obviously the most important thing is ensuring sustainable funding for emergency communication, and doing that in a fair, costly way, but also supporting a long-term public safety. And so month or two, our budget has gotten more hits on our website than it ever has in the history. And we track those things, obviously. And so I think that's awesome. I think that is a great thing that people are out there and they're looking at our budget, but sometimes that generates more questions. And so I want to take just a moment to kind of explain a couple of things that came up in the last meeting, but also some questions that we've gotten outside related to the budget. And so you look at it and you said, hey, you've got a CSEP budget, you've got a 911 fund, you've got all these different funds that exist. There's money in those funds. Why would you not just use that money, right? So just a little explanation of the Judge.
Yeah, I actually got a specific text actually last night from a citizen so I'm glad you're hitting on this. It's perfect because I wanted to be able to answer it, and I just want to read the actual text because I think it'll put it in context and you'll be able to answer it if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So this individual said they were looking at the budget, which I'm tickled to death that people are looking at our budgets. That's to your point. It's awesome. But it appears the county is receiving nearly $16 million in outside emergency funding, CSEP 7.8, ARPA 7.7, and then Kentucky 911 fees of $450 with equipment already being paid for, CSEP's heavy staffing no longer needed. It seems 911 EMA and EOC could be covered from general fund. So as you're answering that, I think it'd be good because I think a lot of times things that are in the budget might not be always exactly what they seem to somebody that's not in it every day. So thank you.
So that is the perfect explanation. And to answer that question, so the little over $7 million that's in there for CSEP. One thing that, and this came up in our last meeting, is that money is in there for CSEP. That's not just dollars in there to be used. That is coming from a specific revenue stream from a FEMA grant, which funds the CSEP program. And that's also a reimbursement. So
And it's for a specific purchase or use.
Use.
It's not just willy-nilly, however you want to spend it. Like it's kind of been pre-approved, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And right now, as we move, as Craig so mentioned, closer and closer to closure and get out of what we call preparedness, which is what we're in right now, what we've been in for the last 30 years, every purchase has to be pre-approved. So it's no longer, oh, I think we need to do this. Chris has probably lost a little hair, and so is Wendy over this. No longer is, hey, I've made this purchase every year for the last 10 years. It's just going to be approved. That it doesn't work that way anymore. And so all of those purchases have a specific line item and a specific use. So that $7 million that's sitting in that budget line cannot be used and just transitioned over to 911 and used for 911. It doesn't work that way with any federal funds. The other part of that that's really important is that budget, was for a 2-year budget, and fiscal court members will probably remember this, but the moment that September 30th is here and October 1st is here, that fund automatically goes to about $1.2 million for closeout and can only be used for closeout expenses and reimbursed for closeout expenses. So that $7 million that's sitting on that budget line right now, it doesn't exist to be used for other purposes. And I think that's important for our citizens to know and understand, that it's not sitting in a bank account that can be used for whatever we desire or for whatever the greatest need is. It has very specific purpose and a very specific way and timeline in which it can and cannot be spent. Do you think that answers the question of the
It
citizen?
does, and then it doesn't also mean that it's all going to get spent.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
at the September 30th, if there's $2.5 million left out of that $7 million, whatever, then I'm just using that as an example, that it stays with the federal government or stays with Kentucky EM.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That is how much can be allocated to
Right.
be spent. The other part, I think, was part of that question, if I understood you right, Judge, was related to ARPA funds and things that are in there. And ARPA is also federal dollars. Those funds come from the Treasury. We're all well aware of how much every local government has benefited from those over the course of the last 5 years. But they also have very specific things that they can and cannot be spent with and audited on. And so as the court has approved, they have had purposes of what they're being spent on, what they can be spent on, and what they will be spent on. And every one of those funds have to be expended by December 31st of 2026. So
And
those
we had to decide how they were going to be spent by December of 2024.
four, correct.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting out there for the next year and a half to be expended for the projects that the fiscal court decided on that are very specific. They can't really be reallocated and said, hey, you know what, we want to pay staff in 911 for those, or we want to do this or that. So I think those are important for things to, for the citizens to understand, and for any local media even to understand, that dollars that are sitting out there, it may be perceived that there's all these extra dollars sitting out there, but those dollars are specific for those things. Does that make sense?
It does. And then the 911, the state 911 fee that he mentioned in the text it's actually part of this financial model already. It's
Correct.
actually included in the financial model as a revenue stream, which is the state's allowed to put that on, not us.
Correct. And the other part of that too is that that's a perfect segue as we kind of talk about 911 funding, and this kind of came up at our last meeting. And I promised to make this simple and short, but then people ask questions. And so, but I think it's 82 specifically, city or county governments across the state of Kentucky assess a 911 fee. There are 118 PSAPs. About 15 of those are actually state police posts, so I guess that is about 112. Does that sound right, Wendy, I think? And so 80 plus of those assess some sort of 911 fee. It comes from a variety of different models. You have people who do water meters, you have people who do land parcels, and then you have a fairly large contingent that actually do both, which has been much to our surprise, and something that both the fiscal court and the task force felt pretty passionately about not doing. And so that $450,000 that we were talking about that had been generated historically from landlines even, that obviously, it will be the decision of the fiscal court of whether that goes away and is sunset, the landline fee, and replaced with something else, which I think has been the suggestion and what has been modeled in the past. So that $450,000 that would have been generated from a landline, you wouldn't do both necessarily unless the fiscal court so chooses. So I think it's important to know that communities all across our state do this in a variety of ways. Some pick a path and some pick all the paths. And I think that obviously it'll be the fiscal court's decision on how we move forward with that. It's not new. And I think we know that it is not new. So kind of moving on, we kind of looked at this about, hey, how are we going to present this information to the fiscal court so that you can continue to give direction and funnel that down as to where we go from here. And so this is just a little bit of a summary comparison table based on previous community feedback, based on kind of some analysis of what that looks like. And then we can look at these in more detail and provide explanation if you want, just as a quick, simple way to say, hey, here's what it looks like. So obviously we have a water meter and then a flat land parcel column as well. You look at it from the beginning, reaches the majority. I think that's been the goal. Landline fees do not reach the majority. Whether you go water meters or land parcels, you are definitely reaching more people than you would with just a landline fee in general. Covers all properties. What this kind of has meant to us has been the water meter does not cover every property because everybody doesn't have a water meter, right? You may have, there's places in our county that have wells or cisterns, or there's properties in our county who just don't have any utilities. Obviously, a land parcel would cover those. Admin simplicity. What we mean by that is how do we administer this? And I think the pro of that is something, and the con of that is something that has been looked at. Now, you could always look at these and create your own interpretation of whether you think it's a pro or con. We're just putting the facts out there for you all to help make that determination. But you're dependent on the utility districts. We have 5 utility districts that we would be working with. They would have to help administer that. And then if you looked at a land parcel, obviously you have a single collection point that it all comes to one place versus working with 5 independent utility districts. And you all please stop me if you have questions. Equitability, what we're looking at this, and this is something that we definitely got feedback from the community, is water meters. You know, everybody has one. There's no, hey, I have a contiguous property, or I have this or that. Either you have a water meter, you're already paying a water bill, or you're not. And so it really spreads that out, but it's also when we had feedback of, hey, we want everybody to pay the same. That was overwhelming feedback that I think that the court heard is the community said, we want everybody to pay the same. We want it to be a flat fee. So obviously a water meter enables that equitability for multiple parcels, things of that nature. Public perception, we had a lot of people say, hey, put it on a water meter, put it on a water meter. And so we felt like we had to put that out here as that's a positive, that we had a lot of people suggest that, ask for that. Existing bills and process. I think this is a really, really big one. I think this is actually a huge one. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that we went from, hey, the largest at the end or the most important at the end. But existing bills and process, this had never been done on land parcels previously. It had never been done with that data set. Our utility companies, all 5 of them, they send us all bills every month. They've been doing it for a really long time. So that process exists, those bills already exist, those addresses already exist, to know that it gets to the right person, and it is already kind of laid out. And I think that's a huge advantage for a water meter versus a land parcel. And then the last that we put on the kind of a comparison list is the collection amount. A water meter, would be monthly versus any kind of land parcel you would have to do on an annual basis. That simplifies it for our citizens. It also, again, you have an existing bill, you add it on there, it divides that out for any burden that it may cause over 12 months versus at one time. And I think that is a huge advantage for a water meter versus a land parcel, that it would be something that would be done monthly. So I know I kind of sped through that. What questions do you all have or want to dive into any of those specifically? Or are you just taking it all in? Or what did I miss?
I don't see anything on there as far as additional cost on the utility side. They're gonna charge us a fee, or they're gonna charge the citizens a fee.
Absolutely. We have not negotiated what specifically, because we really need to get direction from the fiscal court on, do you like the water meter and that's where the direction we want to go, or do you want to look at a land parcel and that's the direction we want to go? I think one of the things that our team and our that have been involved in this for a really long time is we need to be concrete on where we're going from here, so that we don't continue to go down all these avenues, go to the utilities and negotiate and have all these conversations and then it not be relevant. So, but yes, you would have some sort of collection fee for most of the ordinances that we've looked at statewide. That's around 2 to 3% by each utility district as far as their admin fee for collection.
With Steve, there was a fee, previously on what the task force had recommended. The sheriff got a percentage of collection in that. So there was
Kind of
yeah.
washes out.
Wash. I don't know about the amount. I'm not sure about that, but
Right.
there was a fee anyway before. So there'll be a fee there too.
It's just
And
instead of going to the sheriff, it's not gonna go to the water or the collecting agency.
Right.
Whomever that might be.
And then like a land parcel, if the fiscal court chose a land parcel concept, then again, there would be a fee back to the sheriff probably for somebody for collecting that, however it's collected. Questions?
What's the percentage of properties that aren't covered?
That aren't covered by a water meter?
Yes.
It's probably going to be minimal. When you look at it kind of in a holistic standpoint, you have roughly 18,705 water meters, and you have 20,290. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I see Billy Ray ciphering there a little bit, so he's going to tell us real quick what the difference in those two are, I think. But, roughly that's probably, 1,500 or so parcels.
And that's not necessarily, they have wells, it's just.
No, that's just, that does not have a water meter.
Yeah,
That'd be a farm, it'd be
And I think that,
a residence that doesn't have.
I mean, you got undeveloped tract or something
Right.
like that.
and I think that's key, because we receive the feedback and look at what that looks like in terms of contiguous properties.
Some of those would probably be too, I just thought of this, some of those would probably be subdivisions that are being developed or are developed that have empty lots. They don't have water meters in them yet, right? So they don't necessarily have a customer. So if we could have 100 plus empty lots out there, 200 plus empty lots out, Bert would probably know that more than I would, but we could have 200 empty lots out there that haven't been built on yet, that just don't have meters yet. That are considered a parcel already, but just don't have a meter yet.
Yes, one question I have is, does the water meters meet the cost? I mean, the whole goal is to capture the cost. Regardless of whatever you do, it's got to be paid for. It doesn't matter if it's a road or jail or 911, it's got to be paid for. And unfortunately, the citizens have to pay for it. I mean, it's their service. So does the water meters meet the cost versus, land use?
I think that when you look at, obviously, the different models, you look at a flat parcel fee versus a water meter fee. I think that we'd have to decide how we want to divide that out. Is it residential and non-residential? Is it everybody pays the same no matter what? I think the court has been pretty adamant that they really appreciated some level of variety of that in the past, whether that was a residential, non-residential differentiator. So I think that's kind of what that looks like. You can make the cost. Now, what will that be? I mean, you can, simple math, I guess, you would say if you did a land parcel it would be $4.54, I guess, for a water meter, right?
It's just everybody.
If it was everybody. If everybody paid the same, if Union City Grocery and App Harvest paid the same as you and Tom, then it would be $4.54. But I think that's a determination we have to make. Is that what we want? Is that what the fiscal court wants? And do they like that in a water meter setting or a land parcel setting?
Well, I'll just tell you, out Moberly, they're installing a great big 8-inch water line to service App Harvest and the new school out there. So there is a significant difference between residential and non-residential. I mean, I would have a hard time justifying saying that App Harvest paid the same rate as a regular citizen.
As you do.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you.
One thing we have to look at too is, as the county grows, you're adding water meters to those parcels that don't pay now. And so, as growth helps recoup some of the cost, I mean, obviously it adds to the cost eventually. You have more calls for service.
For Wendy's dispatchers, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to add to the cost, but you recoup some of that cost as you grow.
And I think that's one super important thing to remember about water meters is that's really more active data. So just from Friday to Monday, so we had numbers ran on Friday for how many water meters and how many were on Monday, and it varied. And so we were like, oh gosh. But then we were like, oh, these 5 people have activated meters on Monday morning or Friday afternoon. And I think that is continual, and an advantage of it being a monthly service, a monthly fee that you have, is you're collecting them throughout the year. You're not waiting until October, November, December, whatever, to say, hey, all these lots were now built on, whatever. You're getting it almost in real time or the next month when that water meter is activated. So I think that is an advantage. While there's some challenges associated with, collections and the fact that, water boundaries are not the same as jurisdictions. And I think we have to point that out and be aware of that for our citizenry, that, Richmond Utilities serves people who are in the county. Madison County Utilities serves people in the county. Southern Madison serves a lot of people in the city of Berea. Now, Berea Municipal, I think, only serves 33 people in the county. But you have some of that crossover, and so that's important to know that may look different based on who you're.
And one thing I want to make sure that people understand too, that are maybe watching this today, or that I know we have some media folk here, appreciate them being here, is that we're talking right now, when we run these numbers, we are talking about the unincorporated limits of the county. So when we throw out estimates of whatever it was, 18,000, 18,705, and we quickly do the math to that 454, that's of the unincorporated limits. That does not include the city limits of Richmond or Berea in those numbers. So just make sure that citizens, understand that.
I mean, I don't know how the rest of the court feels, but I lean more towards the water meter and making it an equitable, it's having different rates for industry versus residential. I think, we want to be equitable, and so for me, I would lean more towards that and be able to support that going forward. I mean, obviously, we're not going to be able to do what we originally planned. And, when you look at the numbers, you run the numbers, I felt like that was fair, but we're not there. And so moving forward, I'm comfortable with the water meters as long as we make it equitable, that residential homeowners don't pay as much as a factory or a large retail that's got high volume usage.
And I think Magistrate Combs, to that point, I think we've had some initial conversations, obviously getting some of this information from all of our water companies, all 5 of them. I think that they already have those classes built in. They have residential and non-residential or commercial versus residential. And so I think for like our purposes, that is a advantage because they're already doing that on your normal water bill. And so we're not creating something that doesn't already exist. If you are currently classified as, with Madison County Utilities, as a residential user, then that's the rate that you will move forward with. If you are currently classified as a commercial user, that's the rate you would move forward with, that you're already paying, if that makes sense. And so I think that does have some advantages for sure, that they have those rate classes or rate codes, I think they call them rate codes, already built in.
It would object be, say we wanted to go water meters, to have that implemented this year.
I would think that if that was the direction the court wanted to go in, that we would try to work on a sort of that January timeframe, because if, you know, when which we're getting ready to have a vote on a second reading of a rescinding our ordinance, okay? But in that, it also had and what the community, and what we told the community and the citizens is that the landline fee goes away December 31st. Now, if you pay your phone bill in January for December, then it still might be on your January bill, but it goes away at the end of this year. And so that going away and then possibly being able to go into a water meter fee right after that seems the proper way to do it.
So one thing that does have to happen with us moving forward with the water meter fee, if that's the direction that the court chooses, is we will have to go through PSC.
Yeah.
And so they've estimated that is probably about a 60-day process, just based on this having been done all across the state, and it's not something new. And so that is something we'll have to factor in this fall to make sure we go through that process as well.
Anyone else?
How soon would we know what that fee would be, what the breakdown across would be?
So I think our goal and our team's goal from today is getting the decision of, hey, water meters is where we want to go. So then we could really dive into the data, make sure that we get that and model that out, and bring that back maybe in a work session or back to the court. So you could say, hey, here's what it looks like for residential versus non-residential, and see what that funding model looks like. So we were thinking in a week or two to really dive into that if we know that's the direction that we want to move forward with.
Yeah, I would personally, you know, our intentions was to get some direction from y'all today and immediately go to work on it and try to speed that up and turn that around as fast as we can for a work session. You know, here, as Jill said, in the next week or two. You know, one thing we have to think about, and hopefully our city partners are thinking about this as well, but 911 must go on. CSEP funding runs out September 30th. We have no funding stream right now for 911 other than 6 months in this fiscal year of landline, and then the little bit that we get from the state through the 911. I mean, so, you know, I'm not saying we want to rush to anything, but
There is a timeline.
there is a timeline, or we're going to have to start coming out of general fund dollars, surplus, what have you. And, you know, again, I'm not rushing. I'm just laying it all out there for everybody to understand.
And I think part of the funding, obviously, from a budgetary standpoint, of things that do go away with the CSEP dollars going away on September 30th, more importantly, is looking at our radio contracts, looking at those things that CSEP has traditionally always paid for, and that 911 has never paid for, that infrastructure cost. And we say that's what allows us to dispatch the sheriff's office to wherever they're going. That's what allows us to dispatch the fire departments wherever they need to go. So when those calls come in, that communication that happens between that first responder and our dispatch center, that's what that funding's paying for. So it's, you know, it's not just having the dispatcher sitting there in the building they're in, it's for that communication that's happening for all of those people, and that's what CSEP has traditionally paid for. That will go away beginning October 1st.
And everybody needs to realize too, we as elected officials and our community, you know, this financial model, and I've said this before, is kind of, it's fixing it for the long haul. You know, we don't have to have as much money as we're saying if we don't care about who's sitting in our seats 20 years from now, 15 years from now, when it's time to replace the system, which is very expensive. So this financial model is protecting the people that are going to follow us, which, again, I've always said since I'm here, as long as I'm here, I'm always going to try to make decisions to make it better on the person that's going to follow. And so this financial model is doing just that. You know, it's not kicking the can down the road and letting somebody else in 15 years worry about how they're going to come up with how many ever million to replace the 800 megahertz radio system. So I want the community to understand, and I want you all to understand, is that this decision that we're making is going to help those that are going to follow us as well.
I would take that one step farther to say, regardless of who's sitting in this seat, it protects our citizens, which are our family, and
Yep.
I mean, we don't live in another community and come here to you know, be representatives. We live in this community. You know, regardless, you know, 911 is important for everyone.
Okay.
So I don't want to kick it down the road. I want to get on it and let's get with it. Let's find out what the answer is, and let's get it in place to protect our citizens.
So I'm kind of seeing nods and answers of let's go the water meter route and let's.
Yes.
So to recap, our direction is that we'd like to explore the water meter route as our funding mechanism, and you'd like to see a differentiator between residential and non-residential.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
You knew that before you even started.
I do not always walk in here and know what y'all are going to say.
Anything else? Thank you, Jill. Appreciate it. Wendy, Chris. You know what you got to do. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it, members of the court. Great discussion. Next, second reading of ordinance 2025-009, repealing ordinance 2024-07, joint local government 911 fee amendment. Jill.
This is the ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court repealing ordinance 2024-07, an ordinance related to the funding of enhanced 911 emergency communications center operations for the city of Berea, the city of Richmond, and throughout Madison County, Kentucky, and reviving and reinstating ordinance 07-11. Whereas in 2008, Madison County, Kentucky implemented a joint safety answering service to provide a single telephone number for emergency services, creating a joint 911 center for the city of Berea and Madison County, Kentucky. Whereas in 2010, the city of Richmond joined the 911 Emergency Communications Center. And whereas at the time of its establishment, Madison County, Kentucky, the city of Berea, and the city of Richmond provided for the funding of this vital service through a monthly fee levied on landlines telephone subscribers, which was collected through telephone service providers and which was authorized in ordinance 07-11. And whereas the fee levied on landline services is no longer sufficient to fund, maintain, and operate the E911 service as the Madison County Emergency Communications Center. And whereas pursuant to Madison County Ordinance Number 2024-07, Madison County Fiscal Court adopted a new funding mechanism for 911 services, replacing the funding mechanism contained in Ordinance 07-11. And whereas Madison County, Kentucky, the city of Berea, the city of Richmond entered into an interlocal agreement per Resolution 2024-131, Berea or Resolution 17-2024, and City of Richmond Order 25-03, establishing the Madison County Emergency Communications Center 911 to oversee the provision of emergency 911 services throughout the incorporated and unincorporated areas of the county, and adopting the joint funding mechanism set forth in Ordinance 2024-07. And whereas the City of Richmond adopted an alternative funding mechanism pursuant to their Order 25-115. And whereas the City of Richmond Order 25-115 is inconsistent with the terms of Madison County Ordinance 2024-07 and with the associated interlocal agreement. Now therefore it be ordained by the Fiscal Court that the County of Madison, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the ordinance number 24-07 is hereby repealed in its entirety, and that Madison County, Kentucky, number 07-11, which was previously repealed pursuant on the terms of ordinance number 2024-07, is hereby revived and reinstated. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption.
Motion to approve ordinance 2025-009, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Buckin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Lockmuller.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
I do want to point out that now that that has happened, we have communication that is ready to go with the adoption of repealing that ordinance that will go out to all citizens who have appealed, who have communicated with us in any form or fashion, letting them know the path forward and what is to come next and what this really means. And so that's been really important to us. Our website's being updated as we speak to reflect those things as well, knowing that that's happened.
Thank you, Jill. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, y'all. Next, resolution 2025-071. It's a FEMA DR-4592 public assistance grant. Sarah.
Yes, a resolution, good morning. A resolution approving the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Department of Military Affairs Division of Emergency Management, or the Commonwealth, and various second parties subrecipients of DR 4592, each the contractor. Whereas this memorandum of agreement, or MOA, is entered into by and between the intent for the benefit of the parties, the Commonwealth, and various second party recipients of DR 4592, each the contractor. And whereas the parties enter into this MOA to establish terms and conditions for implementing a federal program for the sole benefit of the parties and the United States government, specifically DR 4592, a federal emergency management, or FEMA, public assistance program, or PAP grant, authorized by Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance 97.036 to be administered by the Commonwealth. And whereas this MOA is effective July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2034, consistent with federal program approval for this project. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and/or his designee to negotiate and execute contracts on behalf of the county.
Thanks, Sarah. Members of the court, you've heard resolution 2025-071. What's the pleasure of the court, please?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Judge, is this $43 million grant, will it be distributed? It looks like the dates on it are through 2034. That's the way I read that, between 44, it's actually 45 counties counting us. It's just money hanging out there in case.
Yeah, I'll let.
That's how I understand it as well.
Yeah, it's not all ours.
Correct.
Yeah, make sure that that's said, since we brought up 43 million.
Well, the question is that there's things that are actually should be pending that we have applied for back for a couple of years that may be covered under this, and future things that haven't happened yet.
Right. This really allows our participation.
Yes, the original contract had been out of date, and so this is just extending that same contract we signed in 2022.
Yep. Any other questions, comments? All right, call the roll.
Master, excuse me, Master Buckin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Lockmuller.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Next, resolution 2025-072. This is Madison County Fiscal Court and Perry County Fiscal Court interlocal agreement for data center services.
Good morning. Resolution 2025-072, a resolution relating to an interlocal agreement between Madison County Fiscal Court and the Perry County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, for the use of the Kentucky County's Government Cloud, or otherwise known as the KCGC. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court desires to offer data center services to Kentucky counties and other local government-related agencies that promote regionalism and cybersecurity by providing secure, reliable, and cost-effective data center services. Whereas the intention of the Madison County Fiscal Court is to provide data center services known as the Kentucky County's Government Cloud. Whereas under the Interlocal Cooperation Act, set forth in KRS 65.210 to 65.300, any powers, privileges, or authority capable of being exercised by a local government may be exercised jointly with one or more local government entities under a cooperative agreement allowing joint and cooperative action. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is a facility that meets the specifications of a Tier 3 data center by providing 99.982% availability, And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court facility has the appropriate power requirements, cooling requirements, technological infrastructure, and technical staff to operate this data center. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court will charge for the services at the rates listed in the bill of services signed by both entities, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court will provide the services under the attached agreement known as the KCGC Data Center Services Agreement. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and/or his designee to negotiate and execute the contract on behalf of the county.
Motion approved resolution 2025-072, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Thank you all. Thanks, Chris. Any discussion?
One thing I think, Chris, after looking through all your documents and stuff, I think on the one that you sent us the last with the money on it,
Yes, sir.
that your term Fleet Grid Pro, you should look at copywriting that or some type of protection, because if you do a Google search, there are things that are very similar that do
Perfect.
come up.
Yeah, that's just a holder because we used to call it Trax.
Yeah,
But
I remember
Trax
that.
is actually the software platform, not the Trax. So this is a little different than what we traditionally do. It's still data center services. It's called a SaaS, software as a service. So this is where they will actually track their bush hogs and tractors and things like that to know which roadsides have been mowed. They came and met with us for a really long time back in February, March, and this was the one thing that we did that they're like, we want that, and they've been on my case to get it done. So they're already offering to send us a check. So we'll get this done. They're passing this morning as well. So this is still the KCGC, still data center services, just a little different flavor of it. Instead of computers and servers, it's offering a service to them. So they'll be tracking their tractors just like we do with our road department.
Yeah.
You got, is this some kind of patentable software you developed that's worth $1 billion?
We go through this all the time. What's it worth? It's only worth what somebody will pay for it. It's good for us. It's a great service for them. It brings a little revenue. I think I told Master Bakken this yesterday. You know, our Esri subscription is $17,000 a year. With the agreement with the city paying a portion, now Perry County's paying into this, and 911 pays into it. It's essentially, we don't have that license cost anymore, right? It's absorbed by other folks. So it's saving them money, and it does us a great service for saving some money too. So it's just,
It's worth a small fortune.
it could be. Collaboration is key.
Yeah.
Just a question out of my ignorance is,
Surely
is
not.
there any logistical cost being that, you know, this is in Perry County versus,
So we'll go one time and deliver the equipment only because I shipped them one and it cost me $23 out of my pocket to ship it to them. So I'm not shipping them 8. I'll just drive them down there to them. So that'll be the only logistical cost. We'll program them in-house, take them down and meet and greet with them, and they already know how to install it because they've already done it on one. So no, we won't be there with them at all. And that's actually listed in the statement of work that's not included.
okay.
So if they did need us for some reason and we were not able to do it over the phone, that would be a billable charge.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions. Anyone else? We do have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-072. Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lightmiller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Buck?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Chris. Next, resolution 2025-073, construct concrete retaining wall for First Street parking lot bid award. Scott, good morning, buddy.
Good morning. Resolution 2025-073, a resolution of Madison County Fiscal Court approving a bid award to construct a concrete retaining wall for the First Street parking lot in Richmond, Kentucky. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve all bids in accordance with the administrative code, and whereas bids were requested and to construct a concrete retaining wall at the First Street parking lot in Richmond, Kentucky. The bids were to include all materials, forms, and concrete needed for the footer and the retaining wall. The Madison County Road Department will provide prior excavation, backfilling, as well as rock and asphalt once the retaining wall is completed. And whereas bids was properly posted and one bid was received, opened, and reviewed, and whereas the Madison County Road Department recommends awarding the bid to Stewart Contracting Corporation in the amount of $58,860. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve the resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to negotiate and execute contracts on behalf of the county.
Thanks, Scott. Members of the court, you've heard resolution 2025-073. What's the pleasure of the court?
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just get one quote on that.
That's all that bid it.
Yeah.
Do they have to tear down the wall, or is this just a new support wall?
No, we
Tear it
actually gonna demo the wall. We will excavate the parking lot, demo the wall, and give him a clean place to work, and he'll come
You've
in
got
and
a
pour a
pretty good-
footer and a new
You've
wall.
got the big part of the job right there, cleaning that out.
Saving money, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, if y'all have noticed that wall, it's getting worse and worse, and it's starting to pop, that block where expansion, contraction, freeze and cold has happened. And it's my truck or somebody else's cars, if we don't get this fixed, liable to end up in the front yard of Dreaming Creek Brewery, so.
And we're tying into the existing wall that was put up new, several years ago.
Several years ago, yeah. Part of that was, part of that, when they did it, that goes back many, many, many years.
Yeah.
But part of that, towards the back of the parking lot was already poured concrete, but there was a section there that runs from Irvin Street to about the back of Dreaming Creek Brewery's building.
Yep.
There was still concrete block, maybe it was existing and they never tore it out, not really sure. Yeah, so it's definitely something that's needed. Yeah.
Not cheap.
Any questions, any other comments? We do have a motion second to approve resolution 2025-073. Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Lockmuller,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Bodkin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Appreciate you. Personnel.
Yes, I just would like to ask the court to approve the personnel changes and hires that are in your packet.
So second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Bodkin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Lockmuller.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes, thank you. Next, employee spotlight. Wendy.
Hi, yes, it's one of our very own at Madison County 911. The employee spotlight is for Alexis Harris. She is a certified 911 telecommunicator with our department since 2024. A colleague said, Alexis has been a wonderful addition to the 911 team. She exceeded training expectations and continues to excel in her role. She is a vital member of our team and is always willing to help her shift. And I think that we could go on and on. Every now and then you get a unicorn of an employee and somebody that comes in and is naturally fit for that. And with where she sees herself in the future and going to school to be an advocate and work with psychology and those kind of things. She's a very smart girl. She's caught on very quickly, very reliable, and just a joy for her shift. And any shift would love to have her. So we're proud of her.
Good.
It's good stuff.
Congratulations.
Is she first shift, second shift? What's
She is not shift,
She's
so
not
she'll
shift, huh?
see this later
So
when
she's
she
sleeping
gets
right now.
Yeah, she's sleeping
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, good. Appreciate you, Alexis. That's good stuff. Yeah. It's good. Thank you. Next, the judge's report. Got a few announcements. Madison County Schools' first day for students is Wednesday, August 13th. That's tomorrow. Model will be first day this coming Monday, August 18th. Please be mindful of school buses and increased traffic. EKU's Welcome Walk will be on Thursday, August 14th at 6:30 p.m. Lancaster Avenue, Kentucky 52 will be closed. So Lancaster Avenue here in front of the campus will be closed between the Eastern Bypass and Crab Street. Barnes Mill will be closed between Eastway Drive to Lancaster Avenue. And that'll be this coming Thursday at 6:30. This year's Pops at the Park will be on Saturday, August 16th at Whitehall State Historic Site. Tickets can be purchased online through August 16th at richmondchamber.com. The Kentucky Humane Society, the Madison County Animal Shelter are co-hosting a caravan, mobile clinic that offers free spay and neuter surgeries to local pet owners. The mobile clinic will be on site at Richmond, at the Road Department South on August 18th and 19th. We are pleased to announce that all appointments have been filled. The surgeries help prevent unplanned litters, which allows Madison County Animal Shelter to better manage its pet population and provide quality care to all animals. We want to thank the Kentucky Humane Society, the sponsors, and everyone that worked diligently to offer this wonderful service to our community. Madison County Animal Shelter will be offering microchipping and other shelter services. Again, that is on August the 18th and 19th. So participate. Well, I guess it's already filled. It's already booked.
The surgeries are.
Come up, sorry. Oh, the surgeries are already filled, but microchipping and some of those things can, okay, yeah, that's good. Kentucky River Foothills is now accepting applications for the LIHEAP Summer Subsidy Cooling component. This program helps eligible households and electric costs by providing a one-time benefit based on your income and housing situation. Applications will be accepted through September 12th or until funds are depleted. Appointments are required and can be scheduled by calling 859-544-1713. Thank you all for that. Comments from magistrates? Billy Ray.
Question on our Parks and Recreation. Who's kind of running our Parks and Recreation now?
So since Gary's passing earlier this year, we have some great long-term staff members there that have kind of taken the reins and taking on those responsibilities. And then there's things that we've taken on in-house from either HR or finance or the judge's office. But day-to-day operations, Jeff McCone, who has been the lead golf assistant in the shop there, is running the inside elements, and then Tony Kidd, who is the head superintendent, is running outside facilities. So
Steady as she goes right now, then we're.
Yeah, and we've had some conversations with them about obviously, wanting to take some time for them to know what those things look like and understand. Gary had been with us a long time, did an outstanding job in a lot of different ways. And sometimes when somebody is no longer in that role, you need to take a little time to know exactly what all they did, to know who's the right fit and who's ready for that and what those things look like. And so in conversations with both Jeff and Tony, they both agreed that, hey, we would like to kind of keep the train on the track and keep things moving and going in the way that it needs to, so that we can continue to provide a good service, but not jump to making any person, in that role.
Only other thing I got is this Saturday evening is College Hill Methodist Church having old-fashioned homemade ice cream and pie auction. And they do it right down there at College Hill, their homemade ice cream, and they don't give you no little egg-sized little scoop of ice cream either. You get your money's worth when you go out there, so.
Kenny, you know all about that place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I do.
Yeah. It's good. Thanks, Billy Ray. Tom?
Hey, Judge, I've made several requests over the last couple of weeks and talked to Brandon today. I've talked to Clyde over the last couple of weeks about getting some projects fixed down on Poozy. An update is that they should be stating within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll be going down there and doing some pothole patching and maybe some strip patching as well. There's several places that are really bad. Same thing down on, I call Cal East South. There's some places down there where the road's really bad shape, but I talked to Brandon, he talked like might be able to get out next week or the following week to take care of those issues down there as well. There's some other projects that I've asked for that have actually been completed down on Barnes Mill, that there've been some mowing back there that's been bushes cut back off the road, so I want to thank them for that work and taking care of those things. I've also asked for a place out in front of Okanite to be fixed. It's a really dangerous place, Judge. A couple times a day when the traffic is really heavy out there, and people don't think about it, but there's 300 cars a day that go in and out of that employee parking lot. And there's a gap in between where they're doing the two roads there that's about maybe 12, 14, 16 inches wide that has a 3 to 4 inch drop in it. And, they're trying to pull out into traffic and run across that anyway. I've addressed that with the state and hopefully we can get the contractor to fix that up here sooner rather than later. Only other thing I have, Judge, if anyone needs me, they can reach me at 200-9765.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Brian?
I just want to thank road department crew for Peyton Town looks great. Very needed improvement. I think they're working on the Estridge Road today. Also very needed. Just thank them for what they're doing and the hard work as well with the state. Talked to Brandon, I think yesterday. Messaged him. I got some comments from people out Red Lick that were appreciative of some of the guard railing and some different things out in there. And just thank the state for all the work they do as well. All of our county employees, we appreciate all their hard work and all that they do for our county. Other than that, Judge, just glad to be here.
Glad you're here, buddy. Thank you. Steve?
Must be fairly consistent. So I talked to Brandon as well, and he's taken care of a few things and put a few things on his list. one of the conversations we got into was possibly, especially with some of the trash and more, when I'm talking about trash, I'm talking about tree limbs and stuff that's starting to affect and has been affecting some of the roadways. Do we have any more potential possibility to get some inmate crews?
We're actually working on that right now with Jailer Brock. We lost, back when the situation happened back several months ago, and being short-staffed, we haven't been able to do that, but we've been in some discussions. I know he's been in some discussions with Transportation Cabinet about getting that back revived. I know it is something that's very important.
Helps a lot. Oh, I'm sure you are. And we support you. Thanks for everything you do. And of course, Scott's gotten some things done for all of us in the county. I want to say thank you to him and the road crew. Other than that, I'm just happy to be here as well.
Glad you're here, buddy. Kenny?
Don't everything else.
Counselor? You good? Sheriff? Larry, you good? Everybody good? All right. Comments from department heads. Any department heads today? Nobody getting up? Public comment? Any public comment? Sure. Sure.
George Childs, just curious, the number, I know we had a number from whatever the government was set up with this 911, right? Is what we had to bring the number into to fill whatever
about
the
the
government
cost?
was paying?
Are you talking about the cost?
Yeah.
The shortfall of the cost of?
Well, like, whatever the government was paying for that year's, is that the number we went off of?
So no, I mean, some, yes.
Or were we projecting some further down the road also?
Absolutely. So the task force has broke down the financial piece of it based on, employees, operational cost, infrastructure cost. So we have like 9 satellite towers, right?
Okay.
We have the emergency sirens. You have the staff. You have all these things. Plus, you have replacement of those things, which we call life cycle replacement.
Yeah.
In different stages, and so all that was calculated based on what we were projecting those costs were going to be on an annual basis, or every 10. If some purchases were 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that was all figured basically over, I think, over about a 20-year period, replace radio system. And so all that was figured in, and then we looked at how much revenue we had coming in from different places.
Okay.
And then it was a mathematical equation at that point of what the shortfall was.
Okay. I mean, I figured you just had to back into that number somehow.
Yeah. And which, again, what we were talking about earlier, we didn't want, we didn't have to worry about life cycle replacements today necessarily, but to me, the right thing to do is kind of future-proof it a little bit, making sure that those costs are met. Also, in the life cycle, if you look in our budget, we actually have a life cycle replacement line item. And so, as part of the agreement, those funds actually go into investments. So, and the financial model was all captured. I think it was a 3% annual interest gain. So that was figured in as well, so that you would have the funds in place when you needed to replace portions of the system.
Okay. And the other question is, like, talking about you had the funds allocated or whatever for certain projects. Do we ever see what those projects are or how they have to be dispersed?
Thank you. I think he's referring to the ARPA
Yeah,
funds
ARPA
that we
funds.
approved. Could we publish that again on our website?
Are you talking about ARPA dollars, sir?
Well, she was talking about we have all this
Earmark.
money that's going to run out in September, whatever, and we've got to use.
That's fine.
Oh, that's
This and
not
that.
ARPA. That's the CSEP funds.
Yeah, I mean,
those projects, if you look at our budget and you look at those line items, they're separated into categories just like other things in our budget. So they're in like protective action, they're in salaries, they're in what every dollar is accounted for. So they're each in a line item associated. If it were a project specifically like the 800 megahertz radio, there's a line item that says 800 megahertz radio in this.
But these are the ones that are
Determined
by the government.
yeah, by the federal government. So each of those have a line item that says, hey, what comes out of that line item and what's allowable to come out of that line item, if that makes sense.
But to answer his questions, I'm sure we can get him a copy of that if he would like a copy of that.
Yeah.
Well, if it's online, I can.
Yeah, so,
Look at-
so when you look at the budget, and I'm looking at Sarah because she's gonna shake her head if I'm saying this correctly. But when you look at the budget, and they're gonna be a separate line item, and there's a separate budget for CSEP. And so that is where you would find what those projects that are allowable expenses out of each of those line items. And they're gonna be,
So
Specific.
basically, you're not gonna be able to use all the money, probably.
I cannot imagine.
If they're dictating what you can
Yes.
and can't.
Right.
All right.
Jill, can
Thank
you also, excuse me, Judge, can you also just comment on the ARPA that's in there as well, since we've brought this up, so the public will know about that as well?
Yeah, so I mean, and really the ARPA project, obviously that's came before a couple of times before fiscal court, but when you look at the ARPA budget online, those project line items are in there as well. So you'll see, a lot of our infrastructure costs that even projects that are already complete, there's a line item for those. So whether it's our, utility agreements to support some expanded utility infrastructure or our fire station or whatever the other projects, what all of those projects are, they all have a line item as well that is allocated in there. And obviously we can put a specific page, if that's the request of the fiscal court, on our website that has a little ARPA overview of where those projects are and what has happened with those, if that's
A
something
lot
you
of
all
those
think would be good.
funds, Steve, which I know, I'm sure you remember, a lot of those funds went to our utility districts.
Yep.
Important upgrades that, of failing infrastructure and projects that really kind of help them, which helps a lot of our citizens out in
Right.
the county.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and we had to commit those in 2/4 and be spent by 2/6. So
December.
those are spent, they are committed, and they will be spent on specific projects. That money's not available to do anything else with at this time.
No, and you all know each utility, each one of those projects are on a different timeline. You will see Kirksville, I think, is probably about 60% through their specific projects. Southern Madison is maybe 10%. I mean, so they're all at different stages, and we get regular updates from them because we do also have to report to ARPA and to the Treasury every quarter. And so at the end of every quarter, we have to give a report to ARPA, and our consultants help us with that, obviously, but we have to send our bank statements and every dollar that has been spent. And sometimes we get questions back from the Treasury, which is a little intimidating, but about those. So like our transportation project and things that are already done, then you can close out that portion, so.
There's actually an ARPA expenditure in our claims this time for Southern Madison, so.
Yeah.
There's probably one for Kirksville, too.
Hey, thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I mean, well, the last time you had a meeting, you were talking about how you don't have a lot of people show up. Well, I think, the 9:30, there's not a lot of people that can make it. And, you look at it online, it's done, it's over, and you don't have a way to comment. So I was thinking, you're on 2 and 4, just like the city of Richmond's on 2 and 4, but theirs is in the evening. So I don't know, something like that, maybe change it up to 1 and 3 and have it at 6.
Yeah, we've had a lot of comments about that. There's extra expense in having it at night.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times about how many people work second shift, how many people are retired. There's a lot more people that could be here at 9:30 than what you think. Not everybody works from 8 to 4:30.
Correct.
And so, there's a lot of people that could be here, and I think you watched the show, and I appreciate you being here. You made a choice today to be here, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, well, I just try
You
and
know,
see how it goes.
Yeah.
I try to make it to the commissioners too, but,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you can't, but it's good to be able to see what went on.
yeah,
So,
agree.
Appreciate on
Yeah,
that.
appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Do I have a second? I got a second? All right, any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lightmiller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next meeting will be August the 26th, 2025. Let me say this. The next meeting, the next regular scheduled meeting will be August 26th, 2025. That will be right back here in our fiscal courtroom at 135 West Irvin Street in Richmond at 9:30 a.m. Again, August the 26th, 2025 will be our next regular scheduled meeting. If obviously, unless I call a special call meeting, which will be maybe a work session to discuss the potential future of 911. So I need a motion second to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lightmiller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
No.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Judge